welcome along to another episode of this FM21 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 108, and it's a big one because in our first competitive game in charge at Juventus, we've got the opportunity to win a competition. And it's a big one, and it's a new one as well. It's the European Super Cup. Of course, the only other time we qualified for that before was when we won the Champions League with Spurs, and then we left before their next match. So we know that this is a great opportunity, and what a way it would be to start our time at Juve. So if you're looking forward to finding out how we get on and see the transfer work that our Director of Football has done this summer, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. You can catch up in the eye above with the last episode of this one, where we met all of the squad, all of the staff that we're going to be working with today. There's even a couple of new additions on the staff in front as well. We'll go and meet those a bit later on. There's also a link up there to my new food channel, which I'd love it if you could go over and subscribe and give it a try. And to the Twitch channel down in the description below. Tomorrow starts our biggest ever week of streaming. We've got loads of FM streams as always and plenty of Euro 2020 watch-alongs as well. So I'd love it if you could come and join me. And please do follow along if you're able to. But let's go and talk about Juventus. We've got our first big match of the season. And it is a European one and a chance to win a trophy. They can't get bigger than this. If we have a look at the transfers though, we've got a couple of additions that may help us with that. Now those of you who watched the last episode might remember we talked about 2 positions we were a bit weaker. The goalkeeper, which Anana's probably only got one more good year in him at 35, and left back where we only had one option to start with. Now one of those situations has been resolved, the other one hasn't. But there have been 2 additions to the squad. The problem is they're both non-EU players, and given the rules that are in Serie A, that means there can't be any more from outside the EU this summer, which scuppers the best rated goalkeeper that the Director of Football scouted. So let's have a look at what's been done so far. There's a couple of youngsters going in and out, we're not worrying too much about those. But if we look at the history, this is where it all kicks off. So outs. Importantly, Raul Coste, the young Romanian wonder kid, he has left the club for a season. He's going to be playing at Schalke, and I'm hoping he'll get football because he'll develop no end if he does. He's a wonderful young talent, and I'm sure he's going to become a superstar. In addition to that, Mirko Tedesco, we talked about him as the sort of third choice left winger and a bit of a backup option, but they have chosen to let him go. 35 million to Napoli, and although it strengthens one of the rivals, considering he was signed for 30 million a year before and barely played, it's incredible that they've made a profit on him. Loris Pirotta was the last one, a 16-year-old off to Lazio. Not got the biggest potential, so fair enough. We're happy with him moving on. But more importantly are the 2 ins. Let's get Andrew Jordan out the way because he's the third one who's just a youngster. Not very good, 19-year-old Spaniard, and will probably never play a game for us. However, there are 2 other signings who are exceptional. And the best one, ironically, is the first one, who is a bit cheaper. So Julio Cesar for 11.75 million. He comes from Brazil at 22 years of age. He's a youth international for his country. He's got 4-star ability and 4.5-star potential. So Ain't Nori, I'm afraid, is going to have to drop to be a backup this year, which works out quite well because he's throwing his toys out the pram at the minute about a contract. But this guy, what a signing. For 11.75 million. That is just about the best deal you could imagine. He's incredible physically. Not really got a huge amount of experience at the top level, but he's performing well in training. He's a leading player at this level, and physically we know he's a monster. So I feel like he's going to be a superstar. The only slight issue, he's on a fairly modest wage, there's no worries there, is whether he's going to be injury prone, because he has shown high risk at various points of pre-season. However, he's a great addition. We're very happy with that. As is Aid Febrian from Feyenoord, 23 years of age and £23.5 million, I think it was. Yes, potentially rising to 38. So he's an Indonesian international at 23. He's 3.5-star ability, 4-star potential. Exceptional physically and mentally with a great personality. Slight deficit with his defensive attributes, but he makes up for that going forward. He can play on the wing, he can cover at left back. He's just a really solid squad player yet again. He's happy to sign for a relatively modest wage. He gives us 8 defenders, and that's all we could have asked for. If we'd just been able to sign a good keeper, I think we would have been ready to compete for everything. But that's my only slight nagging doubt at the moment. The keeper's a year older, the backup's atrocious. And if we get an injury or 2 there, that could really harm us. The rest of it, though, I'm happy with. And there are still a couple of weeks to go in the window, so let's not rule out something happening yet. There's still plenty of wage budget and transfer budget available. It's 97 million a transfer budget and 709 grand a wage budget, because the sales have outdone the signings in terms of value, and a few of those are on never ever deals and whatever. The director of football seems to love them. So we're in a real good position as a club. There is still recruitment assignments going for a sweeper keeper, and he was the best one, but he's Turkish, they're not in the EU, and he doesn't meet the transfer requirements as a result, but he would have been an exceptional addition. He's a world-class keeper. I've got to give them credit though. They came to the sort of recruitment meeting just after we joined with loads of different ideas for signings. And I said, look, we need a left back and a goalkeeper, ignore the rest. And they went out and got a left back within 2 weeks, so we've got to be pleased with it, even though they've ignored the goalkeeper side. But maybe we're just going to wait one more year and then the big guy will come in. But that will depend on how we get on, of course. If we go and have a look at the squad, it is still our remaining fear is Andre Onana in goal, exceptional as he is 35. Will he break down physically? Will he just go over the hill this year? I mean, in terms of goalkeeping and mental attributes, he's exceptional, and I don't expect him to drop off that quickly. So I think for this year we might get away with it. Hopefully there's not an African Nations Cup or anything like that this season, because that could be problematic too. But I'm happy with the squad we've got. It's a lot bigger than the Real Madrid one. Probably more resembles the Tottenham squad, where we can rotate a full 11 and still get a decent result. And that's what we've been looking for and we're missing at the Bernabeu. The one slight negative of pre-season, Pietro Bruni, the young centre midfielder, out for a couple of months. So we're one option short then, but we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 great centre midfielders. So we've not got to worry. We're going to play the two holding and centre midfielders as centre mids, because I want to play the 4-2-3-1. And if I very quickly show you the Serie A rules, because a few of you were asking about the transfers and bits like that, it's ranked as one of the top 3 nations now coefficient-wise, so it's got the same qualification pattern as the Premier League. Top 4 into the group stages, and then 5th and 6th into the Europa League, 7th into the Conference. If we have a look at the transfer rules though, if the club has more than 3 non-EU players in their squad on the 30th of June, which Juventus did, even if they're going to be out of contract soon, they can only sign 2 more new ones, and that's already been done this summer. So we're not going to be able to sign anyone outside the EU. One can be signed without the need to replace a player, but only if they play 5 national team matches. So basically, you can only sign established non-EU players. And that's where the issue comes, is are we going to be able to get a top goalkeeper unless there's massive money paid for one of those who's currently playing in the EU and is currently an EU international? So that's going to be up to our director of football to decide in the next couple of weeks. We'll wait and see if it occurs or not. Let's have a look at the biggest deals across the rest of the nation. More of them going out than in, it's got to be said. 104 million for Kenny Sanchez leaving Inter for Barcelona. And looking at him, thank God we made the decision to leave Real Madrid. Cape Verde still producing stars though this year. Another one leaving Bologna for Chelsea, and then the third biggest deal was Tedesco leaving us for Napoli. So actually, there's not really been many big transfers at all. The biggest ones in terms of the top sides are Sassuolo selling someone to Milan, a Brazilian midfielder who's very good but not world class. And then one from Chelsea to Inter, who at 32 is very good, probably top level, but is over the hill. So I don't see that there's many massive signings here. And after that, I'd argue most of them are pretty average. So I'm not going to get too upset about it. We'll have a very quick look at Real Madrid after the Super Cup final as well, just to see how they're getting on, who they've replaced us with, and what signings they've made. You can see one of them there. And we've got one new staff member to meet as well, and it's an important one. It's a new assistant manager. So let's go and get them in job order. And here he is, former Hungarian international Paul Dardai. He has been at Bayern Munich for 6 years. He was at Hertha Berlin before that. But he's a former manager of Hungary, former player of Hertha Berlin, was very famed in the early 2000s. And he's very good at what he does. We've got to be happy with him as a signing. Got knowledge of the Bundesliga, which might help with signings later down the line as well. But a really good addition. It's a really good coaching team, something we didn't have at Madrid. And I'm just hoping here it will have an effect on the pitch. The way to find that out is by getting in to face Atalanta. They did finish in the top 4 last year, albeit 4th of those 4. Their key player, Christian Sarmiento, is a very good one. Not an international for Spain though, but he's versatile and very high quality. They have a captain and vice-captain, are 2 pretty good players as well. So they're a good side, but they're a side we should be beating. They've got a very good manager in Philippe Clement, but let's go and get into it. Italian v Italian. One won the Europa League, one won the Champions League. So Italian football really on the up, and we've got to continue that growth here. If we go and get our 11 picked, I'll show you the tactic for today's game. And then fingers crossed, we can come out on top. There we go, the perfect squad for a 12-man bench with the one injury, so we have got that level of strength in depth. We could have never done this at Madrid. However, there are still a few areas I'm a little concerned. I had thought about moving Simois into centre-half, and then perhaps at right-back playing either Tomiyasu or the new signing, Fabian over there. But aside from that, it's a very strong squad. We've not quite got the same level of striker as Dave Classen, but as we mentioned in the last episode, Bongiorni will get there. He just needs another year of football, and if we can give him that and still win the league, then we've done our duty pretty well. But this is the lineup we've gone for today. I'm not worried about the heavy match load because there's a week and a half off before the season after this. So Onana's in goal. We've got Simois and Cesar making his debut at left back. Marcelo and De Ligt the centre halves. Schiet Roma alongside Tonali as the midfield two. And then Popov, Balde and back the three-man attacking midfield behind Bongiorni, the wonder kid up front. We've gone for two wingers today. I am tempted to bring in Unavar on the left-hand side and then maybe switch back to the right, play with two inverted wingers. But for now, I'm going to stick with our best 11 on paper. This is it, so let's go and get into it. And touch wood, lift our first trophy at Juventus. So 3 squad numbers handed out today, because don't forget, the young Serbian joined on a free a couple of weeks before we joined as well. So if we are winning and doing well, we'd love to give those two a debut. I'm not sure it'll work out that easily though. It's 5 changes from the last friendly. We've had a decent pre-season. And ironically, as you probably saw when we left Real Madrid in the last episode, the first pre-season friendly planned was between the two sides. But it's a good Atalanta team. We've got Dragowski in goal, very recognisable name. Koulibaly in the middle we've come up against before. Thakon the same in the Premier League. Just checking the bench for any more experienced stars, but I don't think there are. Oh, I've missed Ben White as centre-half actually. Probably the most talked about name in England earlier this week as he got called up to the Euro squad following the Trent injury. So Ben White's in there. He's a good player. Might prove otherwise at the international tournament, but we're not going to worry about that for now. Let's tell the lads the fans have been fantastic. Go out there and win it for them. And bar the league, no one's really responded. We've got to rebuild that reputation with a new set of players yet again. But so far, we should be the favourites on paper. Well, it didn't take us long to come back in just the second minute as White and Drakowski, two of the experienced pros, play out at the back. They're trying to beat our press here and they might well do it. But the way we're pressing is a really good sign. That is a hungry press. So a long ball downfield and eventually we force them to give it away with an 80-yard ball through to Onana. He can roll out to De Ligt and hopefully will be a bit better in possession as De Ligt plays into Schiet Roma. He comes over halfway, turns his man quite well there. Got Tonali with him, but goes left to back instead. Through to Bongiorni, back to Popov. It's a great block by the defender. The keeper had got caught in no man's land. But really good play. Great possession. Broke the lines really quickly. And equally, this pressing is pretty impressive. Must excuse the pun there. As the ball goes out to the right to Sarmiento. They do seem to have beaten it this time though, so maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, that is delicate. I'm not a fan of that in his own half, but Simois controlled it with a back heel to the centre half. Gives it to Popov, who goes flying down to the byline, in and hits the post with a shot. It's a little greedy, probably should have laid it back. But it's been a brilliant 5 minutes from Juve. This is a positive sign for the season. Atalanta persisting with playing out from the back, and we're persisting with the pressing game. And I wonder which one's going to come out on top here. Sarmiento gets it on the right yet again. Goes back to centre midfield. But we're forcing them back and we're forcing them to give it away as Back nicks it on halfway. It's been a brilliant display. We're harrying, we're hounding for possession. And these boys have got a lot of fight in them. As Back goes all the way into the box. His shot's tame. The finishing's not quite there yet. But everything else has been sublime. As we're back almost immediately with a throw at left back for Cesar on debut. Plays a 1-2 with the experienced Tonali, who finds Balde. Surges against the opposition defence. Gives it to Schiet Roma. Through to Bongiorni. That's a good save by the keeper. Dragowski down to his left, tips it round the post. We did mention he's not the greatest finisher in the world, but he will get there, I'm sure of it. As the ball's into the box, headed away as far as Popov. He gets to the byline again. The two wingers working really well in terms of committing the fullbacks. We've just not had that final product yet, and as soon as we get that, I'm sure we'll be alright. We've dominated the possession. We've forced no shots from Atalanta. They've barely left their half. We've just got to get the goal we deserve. As Cesar's throws headed away, only as far as Tonali and Marcelo. The two combine, we're in the opposition half. Not one player for either side bar our keeper is in our own half. As the through ball to Back is tipped away again. Drakowski is a one-man team at the moment. What an effort he's put in between the sticks. Popov will take the corner. It's into the back post. Tonali loses out. It's cleared as far as Cesar, but Aloza nicks it off him. It's still 0-0 though. It's been an exemplary display. We just need the goal. Marcelo to Cesar, to back. Another wave of attack starting here. Still only 25 minutes gone, and it has been ruthless attacking displays. We just need the goal as Bonghiorni's in. It's off the line again. How many last-ditch challenges and interceptions have been made? It's incredible, really. And are we going to live to regret it? 10 shots, 5 on target. Atalanta have had nothing. And our expected goal's almost 2 now. But we're yet to break the deadlock. This could be a worry later on. And it's a corner kick again. 3 minutes to the break. Popov in. Tonali heads into the back of the net. It took a set piece after a brilliant start to the game. But it's thoroughly deserved. And with 3 minutes to the break, Juventus have the lead against Atalanta. European Super Cup, here we come. We're on course and it's well deserved after that performance. What a first half display from the boys. They have been fantastic. They deserve the lead. And how it's not more, I don't quite know. Let's go and get our hands on the trophy. Let's tell the lads to keep it up. But that first half is very promising. We've not been quite as good in the second half so far, and we've now picked up a knock to Julio Cesar, the debutant. But with 20 to go, it's been a really good display as Popov gets it on the right-hand side. Back to Shet Roma, out to Simois, overlapping from wing-back, into Bonghiorni. The Wonder Kid opens his account for the season, and Juventus all but wrap up the European Super Cup. Another big new trophy to add to our repertoire. Let's go and make a couple of changes and protect that young injured lad. We did say it was the only worry we had about him. Did he have that high match load? Did he have that high injury risk? It's the only slight negative. But Aitnori, a very able deputy. But he'll come on. Baldate will be replaced by Ristivajevic. He'll get a debut in attacking midfield. He prefers a support duty, but we'll leave him there. And then who else really deserves to come on? Should we just bring on the other youngster? Fabrian, the new signing. He deserves a chance. Or I could replace Baku's tired. I tell you what, we'll leave it 10 more minutes. I don't actually know. I might have to go and have a look how many changes we get in this game. So it's only 3 subs, so we're going to have to stick with it for now. And we'll make another one with a few minutes to go. And here we come again. Aitnori the sub with a throw in. Ristivajevic loses out. Falls for the left back again. We're going to need to get some nicknames in for these. As Bonghiorni gets his second at the front post. What a display. Back looks knackered now. So on comes Unava. Probably one of the best backups you'll ever see in this series. He'll be an inverted winger on attack. And with 15 minutes to go, it is 3-0. It's comprehensive. And don't forget, this is the 4th best side in the country as well, which is a real positive for the season ahead. As Koulibaly gets it on the left, I'm feeling more and more like this was the right decision. As Tonali slides it through, Bonghiorni doesn't chase it. It goes all the way through to Drakowski. Why did he not chase that? He could have got through and nicked his hat-trick. As it's cleared long downfield by the Atalanta keeper, headed away as far as Popov, who loses out in the challenge. Aloza gives it wide to Poirier. He's coming forward from the left, cuts inside. No one's really closing him down with any intent, although Tonali stands his ground. He knew what he was doing and just nicks it back up him as Unavada sub gives it to Bonghiorni. Be a icing on the cake if we could nick him a hat-trick. We're starting to get a little sloppy in possession now, and with 10 minutes left, we don't want to come off the boil. As the long through ball finds Mania, oh, it's a great tackle. Wonderful defending from Marcelo, and that's the beauty of the Brazilian wonder kid. He's got electrifying pace. And he wins that tackle. He made up for his positional error. And Aitnori was there to recover. But he can't win that header. Cross into the box, headed in from the back stick. Is there yet to be a grandstand finish? We're going to tell the lads to focus. We don't want to give them any opportunity or any sniff at the trophy. If we can just see it out comfortably, I'll be more than pleased. A fantastic display though overall. It's a shame the clean sheet went. But there we go. Another injury in stoppage time. Perhaps a concern for the season that we are going to run out of players eventually. But with 90 seconds left and a 2-goal lead, thankfully we don't have to worry as we've got a throw on the right with Simois. To the Serbian substitute. Plays a 1-2. It's just a game of keep ball at the moment, I'd imagine. Tonali picks it up in a playmaker role. Back out to the right wing back. The benefit of the right winger coming off is he's got acres of space to run into. And he's done just that. Bonghiorni's in the middle. Still wants that hat-trick. Oh, it was into the new Serb. And his header was straight at Drakowski. He probably should have got a goal there and opened his account as Marcelo plays him in again. Through to Bonghiorni for the hat-trick. Hits the post. And it thunders away. It's just about the last chance of the match. We're still playing for some reason. But what an effort from the kid. He's been brilliant. Aloza gets in. De Ligt nicks it. Wonderful tackling. Just stood his ground and put a foot in, didn't dive down. Koulibaly does the exact opposite for Atalanta. And surely, when this is taken, the final whistle will go. We've played over 6 minutes of stoppage time. Why has the referee not blown his whistle? The Lig's got it at the back to Simois. In possession, he gets the full-time whistle, and there we go. A 3-1 win for Juventus, a wonderful display on the night, and we were thoroughly deserving of a European trophy. Only the second of our career after the Champions League final with Tottenham, and it was a brilliant display. A great sign for the season. The trophy will be lifted by Matthias de Ligt. It is 3-1 Juventus, and we lift the European Super Cup. Wonderful, wonderful start to our tenure. Now we've got to go and build on it. Well, it's only fair, isn't it, after that positivity, that we end on some negatives. A 6-week injury for Popov, a 5-week injury for Julio Cesar, a couple of debuts, as we know, £4 million in the coffers, and a brilliant performance. We did really well there. Not even a comment from the board, which is surprising. We'll praise Bongiorni as the wonder kid, because he's someone we've got to get on side. We could make him world class, and that would be sort of a fitting tribute to me. If this does end up being our last job, or even our last big job, it would be wonderful to turn a young talent into a world-class footballer. Let's have a look at the schedule though, as promised. We've only got one game this month. I mean, the first 2 league games of the season are possibly 2 of the biggest. If we look at recent seasons here, last season, Milan 2nd, Roma 5th. The season before that, Milan 6th, Roma 7th. The season before that, they both dropped out of the top 6, which is bizarre. But Milan generally have been up there in the top 4, and Roma have generally been in Europe elsewhere as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to get through the Roma game, we're going to get through the end of the transfer window, and then we'll be back after the international break for AC Milan at home, who were the closest rivals last year, and in the first Champions League group stage game, which will be just 3 or 4 days after. So if you're looking forward to that and you did enjoy seeing us wrap up our first trophy at Juve, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories. Hopefully we'll have more positives to come in this one, but in the meantime you can catch up with all the other playlists in the eye above, as well as my new food channel. I'd love it if you could give me some support over there. And there's also a link to the Twitch channel in the description below, where, as we mentioned earlier, tomorrow starts our biggest ever week of streaming. So please do come and follow us there and get those notifications on, because I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it, although I'm a bit nervous. So hopefully it'll be a really good week. But a massive thank you for watching, your continued support with the series as always. I do greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time for a big title decider this early on in the season, and the start of another Champions League campaign. This time we'll be hoping to do better than we did at Madrid. I'll see you next time to find out if we can.